Hello out there. My name is Dr. Chidebere Wanchuku, and if you're watching this video, I imagine that you have got access to our online course, and you have already decided or trying to decide to relocate to Qatar from wherever you are to practice as a specialist, or you're considering it. Okay, so you are likely in one of these categories, and that's why you are watching this video today. And so you are going to be getting information relevant to this, and especially for Nigerian trained specialists. I'm going to try to be as specific as can be with regards to Nigeria in this course episode. Okay, I'm not going to be rushing it like my usual videos you watch on YouTube. I'm going to be taking my time to explain some concepts and help you to get some things you obviously paid to have access to this video. And so I'm going to try to make it worth your money and give you as much information as we have or I have at my disposal at the time. Okay. Also remember that things are always changing, things are always updating, information is always modifying, and it's our responsibility to keep our clients updated. That's one of the things you're going to gain. For instance, people who paid for the previous course, the Oman specialty course, on which I am piggybacking this Qatar video, would be getting this for free. So they would just have access to the video for Qatar for free. They just have to put in their login details and they'll be right in. So from time to time, we do things like that. And when there is need, we just create a completely new product altogether, and everybody has to pay for it. But we just choose to give them this. So if you're new, my name is Chidebere Wanchuku once again, and I am the founder and chief executive officer of Vidant Solutions Limited. Vidant Solutions is an international recruitment and travels company, which is duly registered and licensed to do what we do in Nigeria. Our office is at Global Plaza in Kaura district of Abuja, suite FF5, Global Plaza, Kaura district, Abuja. Okay, and our website is www.vidantsolutions.com, and our official phone number for people who might not know is, I want to call it out so that I'd be sure that you know it. This is our official number. Before now, we didn't have that, but we have one now that is manned 24/7, and you can send all your inquiries to the number and you'll be attended to. Okay, now the number is hold on a minute, a sec, give me a sec. Good. Plus 234-70-34-24-31-33. Plus 234-70-34-24-31-33. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to put it up on the screen, but if you're watching the video, then you could have written that down. And so our Gmail address is vidansolutions@gmail.com. That's for official purposes. But for recruitment purposes, we run vidanrecruitment@gmail.com. And if you want to send a message to our country director for more information on anything, you can send it to officialvidantsolution@gmail.com. Officialvidantsolutions@gmail.com. Okay, so that is how we roll. And you can always visit our headquarters in Nigeria at Suite FF5 Global Plaza, Kaura District, Abuja. For those of you who live in Abuja, you should know Galadima roundabout on your way to Apo. So if you're coming from City Gate, you stop at Galadima roundabout. Between Galadima roundabout and Sunnyvale, between Galadimawa roundabout and Sunnyvale. Our headquarters is on the left of it. So the Google location, you can easily search for Global Plaza on Google Map. Global Plaza Abuja is in Kara District. Global Plaza Abuja, you'll find our office there. When we hope to also put our own pictures on the Google location for the plaza. So you'll be able to find us. Suite FF5 is on the first floor. You'll find us there. We're always there Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You're going to find us there. Okay, so feel free to come around and discuss if you have things that you want to talk about. And so let's get right into the purpose for coming here today, the Qatar Specialist Pathway. This video is supposed to be a breakdown of what it is supposed to be. So let's cut to the chase. Going to Qatar to practice as a specialist is very easy. Okay, it's very easy. License-wise, I mean, the process is very easy. It can be quite pricey, can be a bit expensive, but considering the time you're going to be spending on the other pathways, trying to write exams, trying to register them, and specialists fail these exams. That's what I do. We register specialists for these exams, and we understand why. It's not that you're not good at what you do. It's just that sometimes as a specialist, you have become so, focused, super specialized, especially on the things that you do from day to day. And some of those basic stuff that the examiners or people be expecting you to bring forward to them in an exam situation, you might not really be conversant with them again. And so we've had some specialists not perform very well, especially on the Oman pathway, where they have to write exams and have to pass those exams. Okay. And so it's understandable. The nature of practice sometimes is not exactly what is in the books. And so sometimes this puts a kind of difficulty in specialists passing some of those exams. In fact, some of the exams, especially for the Oman pathway, is written by both the specialists and the medical officers and everything, because it's just one exam for everybody. And so you will realize that those in training and those who are like actively studying, they get to pass these exams, but then the people that are training them, and have been practicing for so many years, have lots of experience, and obviously are much better doctors than them, kind of struggle. That's what exams, we all know, is not a true test of knowledge. So the Qatar pathway actually helps you to avoid that. Okay, at the moment, there is no exam to get licensed in Qatar or to begin to work in Qatar as a specialist. So, I mean, you have your fellowship, you're registered, your additional qualification, all of those things. You have all your documents. That is what you need to get into Qatar to practice. But it's not just that. There are other things I'm going to be sharing, but let's just cut to the chase again. Another thing very important to note is that you are unlikely to get a job in Qatar from outside of Qatar. Okay, so if you're not inside of Qatar, you're unlikely to get the job. And after you come into Qatar, it's not enough that you just got a visit visa and you landed in Qatar. You are still not going to get the job. Okay, this is with the information, with what is on ground today. This is the 23rd of March 2023 that I'm making this video. With what is on ground today, if you come into Qatar on a visit visa or a hire card, all of those other ways that tourists used to come in, tourist visas and the rest, they're not going to hire you, because Qatar is actually even trying to become a tourist destination. And so they know a lot of people are going to be showing up and like that. So if you come in with a tourist visa, the employers, the people are not going to take you serious. Okay. And so even if you come in with a work visa, until you have processed your residency ID card, which is known as the QID, okay, Qatar identity card, they also are not going to take you serious. And so often we notice that when people come in and for instance, we actually have a consultant on ground as we speak. He just came in recently and he's trying to get his card and all those things sorted out through our process. Okay. And then he has got about a number of interviews, and one major thing they were asking or they were requesting for was his QID. Okay, and so he had to put them on hold a bit to complete the QID process, and then he'll go back. Okay, and so the process requires that you will have your Qatar identity card. Now, where does this bring you to? It brings you to the point where Vidant Solution, this is actually what we are trying to do for you at this moment. We have other bigger plans, but at the moment, we are helping you to get into Qatar, get your QID, prepare your documentation, do a verification of your documents and everything, and help you to be able to be ready and qualified to actually seek for these jobs. Okay. So some weeks ago, someone actually reached out to me or to our staff and was asking, oh, okay, that she's traveling to Qatar, she's going on a visit visa, that she's going to look for jobs there. I'm like, come on. In fact, we didn't respond to her because she was behaving like someone that knew everything that she wanted to do. So we just asked them to let her be. No need to get into such a discussion. You get into Qatar without an ID card, without your QID, nobody's going to take you serious. Okay. And so I'm going to explain to you what and how we help you with this. And I hope it's going to come in handy. But before that, I'm going to want to go through the requirements you need to actually practice as a specialist in Qatar. Okay. Number one, you will need your data flow report. Now, data flow is the name of an organization that verifies documents for Middle East countries for health workers. So if you're a health worker, whether it's a doctor, a nurse, pharmacist, anything, orthopedic, whatever you are, and you want to practice in the Middle East, Dataflow is going to have to verify your degree, your work experience, and all of those stuff, and then issue you a report at the end of that. So it can actually get complicated and could take as much as 1 to 2 months for some people to complete without hitches. And so this, the process involves filling of some forms, some applications online, and a lot of things. There are technicalities that are involved, and people have actually started on the wrong foot and got stuck for 6 months. Okay, this could actually prolong your whole process. However, at Vidant Solution, we've come up with very straightforward ways, very efficient ways to assist our clients and people who have signed up with us on our guidance package to navigate this process, okay? The data flow. And then for some people who have practiced in another Middle East country, maybe UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, that want to relocate to Qatar, and most likely they already have the data flow. All you need to do is a transfer of your data flow report, okay? So you don't need to do a new data flow. You just have to transfer it to Qatar, and we also help you do that, okay? At Vidant Solutions, and the fee is much cheaper for the original data flow. If you include the VAT, the fee, as in if you're doing it for the first time, the fee that Dataflow is going to charge you is about 1,286 Qatari reals. Okay, and one Qatari real is about 197 Naira. So plus or minus about 200 Naira to one Qatari real. And so you have this in mind when you're coming. There's going to be a list of all these breakdowns under this video, hopefully, and a document or just a write-up there that you can always look down just below this video, and you'll be able to get this breakdown in written format. Okay. Now, the MDCN verification fee, when Dataflow is verifying your document, there is a part where they have to go to MDCN to verify your licenses. Okay. And so when they do that, MDCN usually requests that you pay a fee. Okay. And then that fee is not always the same, but for a while we've been seeing them request for roughly about 115,000 Naira, 115,000 Naira. And so you should plan for this. And some universities also request for fees, Uniport, I think a number of universities, when data flow gets to them, they ask you to pay a certain fee. It's not usually that much, between 1,500K or thereabouts, and then for them to respond to data flow. And so when your data flow process is going on, even though you're in touch with our staff who will also be advising you on what to do and how to follow it up, you need to be checking your email, because we are going to be using your email to make the application, to see when Dataflow is going to send you a mail to make a particular payment. So when they get to any point that payment is required, the Dataflow will usually send you a mail and tell you how to make the payment and upload the receipt back to them for them to present to the body that is involved, and they will do what they have to do as regards your verification. And so you need to be checking your mail if you're doing, or if you've started your Dataflow. Okay. Now, also the licensing bodies in Nigeria, I mean the West African College and the National Postgraduate Medical College, often also have a fee that they want to extract from you in this process. See something, if you want to relocate, everybody believes your life is about to change and you have a lot of cash, and so everybody wants to cut or take their piece of the pie. And so you don't have to let this get at you. You must come with the right mindset, because what you're doing is what more than everything I'm going to be discussing here. All the money involved in this whole process in 2 months of working in Qatar, some people in 1 month, you're going to recover all of this money. And so you cannot, focus on what you're going to be spending. You should be looking at what you are gunning for: a better life, better income. I mean, your life is going to change. My video of what I went through in the process of relocation is out there. It's on public. Uh, it, it's in the public view or in the public space. You could always watch it on YouTube, and you're going to see all I had to go through as an individual in my bid to relocate. Today, I literally do not remember those things. Like, it's just a story I tell, but the pain I went through to get through that process is non-existent at the moment. Okay. And so, if you're thinking of relocating and you're worried about the fees you're paying to all these bodies, truth is that nobody's going to let you just escape like that. In fact, how you know you're on the right track is when people are trying to put blockades on your path. It is an indication that you're on the right path in anything you're doing in life. Okay. And so, the West African College or the National Postgraduate Medical College, they also have a little fee that sometimes they spring up and they ask you to pay. And more importantly, it's also important to have someone on ground in those places that you could always incentivize or encourage to help you to follow up on your data flow verification when it gets to that point. So you see that most of the fees you're paying are related to the data flow. Okay, and because you're not writing any exam, so you don't have to pay for prometric or any exam. It's mainly the data flow. Now, the other fee here is your guidance fee. The fee you pay to Vidant Solution to guide you through this process is the guidance fee, and it's 800 Qatari riyals at the moment. I think it's roughly about 157,000 naira. And so that's what you pay for us to guide you through all of this and help you to settle down in Qatar and all of those stuff. Okay, that's the fee you pay to Vidant Solution as a company to onboard you and do all of this for you. Okay, so let's move on to the requirements you need. I mean, the things that you're going to need and that employers are going to be requesting from you when you arrive in Qatar in order to begin to process your license, your practicing license. Remember, when you get to Qatar and someone has decided to hire you, the sequence is this: you do all of these things that I said earlier, your data flow, and complete your data flow, come out with a positive data flow report, and then you have to gather all the requirements that I'm going to mention now. Okay, you have to gather them, bring them together, and then before you get your visa, your work visa, not a visit visa in this case, you get your work visa and then move into Qatar. When you arrive Qatar, then these documents I'm going to be mentioning now is like the things that the Ministry of Health, actually they are referred to as the Ministry of Public Health in Qatar, are going to be requesting for these documents. And so you need to have them handy, or at least know that they are expected of you. And obviously be putting them together as your data flow is ongoing. Okay. Number one is a copy of your valid passport. It starts to reason, and if your passport has less than 6 months on it, you should try to renew it and get a passport with a longer duration before you move. Okay. Or you even start applying for the visa. And so you need a copy of a valid passport. Obviously, you can't travel without that. You need a copy of a valid QID. So with a national number, sometimes they are okay with just accepting a national number, because in the process of getting your QID, your number is going to come out even while you're waiting for your ID card to arrive, because the ID card is usually mailed to your sponsor, okay, to our sponsor, and then who is also your sponsor by extension, and then we get it and give it to you. So while you're waiting for this, sometimes you already have your number, okay, like the doctor that is in Qatar as we speak already has his number. We are just waiting for his ID card to arrive now. And then apart from your valid passport, after you've arrived, obviously you need your QID, a copy of a valid QID, and then you're going to need one recent photograph of you, one recent photo. There's a criteria that is used to get this photo, okay? And so when you can always take this picture in Qatar, and but obviously you can get a passport photo, your regular passport photo, before you leave Nigeria. Also, you need an up-to-date CV. You need to update your CV. And then we also have a CV optimizing service that you can always access. Okay, it's relatively cheap. I think it's about 5,000 naira, and your CV will be overhauled completely, giving a professional appearance. I've seen so many specialists, just by virtue of what I do, who have a lot of powerful qualifications, but the presentation is poor. And so if people pick up that CV among a bunch of CVs, it's not going to stand out. That's why we began to take CV optimization serious. And so with just a 5,000 naira, one of our partners can help you to optimize your CV while you're waiting for your visa to be out or your data flow to be complete. And remember, it's always better to onboard with us first, start your data flow, complete your data flow before you apply for your visa, okay? And so that once your visa is out, you're on the next flight to Qatar. Remember, you need to be in Qatar within 3 months of your visa, your work visa being released, okay? Also, you need to have a copy of your recent work experience certificate. Now, what they mean by work experience certificate is your experience letter. However, there's a way this should be written, and so we also have a member of our team that helps you to craft and draft a standard experience letter that will be acceptable in the Gulf country. You know, the way we do things in our own country, how we write these things is not the same way, it's not the same expectations. There are key things that are required to be in there. So our staff will also help you to come up with a good experience certificate. Now, for those who have worked in some other countries like Saudi Arabia and who are resigning, there is something called an experience certificate that is issued to you. Okay, and so that is also something that you should try to get and bring or come along with it when you're moving to Qatar. Now, the experience certificate is given to you by the employer in the place you gain that experience. So if, for instance, you worked as a consultant in a teaching hospital for 10 years, so this experience letter should be coming from the teaching hospital administrative office, okay? Whether it's the director of administration or the medical director or human resource or whatever, but it should be an official letter headed from there. Our staff will help put you through all that you need to do as regards this. Now, you also need a copy of your valid medical registration license. So if you're coming from Nigeria, for example, you need to have renewed your license and have more importantly, your full registration, okay? And in this case, as a consultant, it's not enough to have the full registration you did when you got your MBBS, you also need your additional qualification, okay? Your additional qualification that states that you're now licensed to practice as a specialist in Nigeria. And beyond that, you also need your certificates from either is West Africa or national. Obviously, without those certificates, you cannot even get your additional qualification. And so if you are yet to get that, that is something you may want to already begin to try to get at the moment you're watching this video. Begin to make the applications. We know how some of these things can delay in Nigeria, and try to get them handy immediately. Okay, and then but of course this should not stop you from starting the process, at least because your data flow is going to take time. So we are expecting that as data flow is ongoing, if you're watching this video and you're ready to start, you can obviously start right away. And as your data flow is ongoing, you're applying for all these things, okay, until you get all of them handy. And data flow does not expire, so you shouldn't be worried about the timing. It's always valid, okay? Also, they will require your data flow report. So it's called point of source verification. So data flow actually goes to where you worked. In fact, the experience letter you're writing will also be sent to the data flow in the process of their own verification, so that they can go to the hospital you claim you worked to verify that you really worked there. So it can really be an extensive process. So, and you need to follow all the guidance and all of those stuffs. And that's why you need to start it on time. And many of these things are interwoven, but we help make it very seamless, and you have a great experience with us. Those who have worked with us on other pathways know that we are very efficient at what we do at Didan Solutions. So when you need your data flow report, also, I've already mentioned this. Okay, this is for medical officers, actually, so I'm not going to be mentioning it here. Those who are coming as medical officers will need their prometric results or report sheet, but as a specialist, you don't need that because there is no exam for you. You should also have in mind, understand that sometimes as a specialist, they would accept you. They might accept you, okay? They might accept your fellowship. But when they check it at par with their own standard in Qatar, they might now, this is after you have been hired and all of those things, they might now say, fine, this is where we want you to start practicing. For us to recognize you at this other level that you are gunning for, or maybe that you were in your own country, you need to write this exam. Okay, but you're already in the system, and of course, it's easy to keep moving. And you cannot tell where they are going to place you after their assessment until you have been assessed. Okay, so you cannot say from Nigeria, you're not saying, for me, you must recognize me as a consultant from day one. No, it doesn't work that way. So you come in, they might accept you to their system, then they'll evaluate your qualifications and everything, your years of experience and exposure, and then they could say, fine, start at this point. We accept into the system, start at this point if you want to really get to this point that you're gunning for, or that you were in your country. Okay, so you need to bear this in mind when you are coming as well. And if you already have all these additional qualifications, fellowships, all of those things are boosters. They are a big deal in Qatar. Okay, so if you have your fellow Royal College of anything, membership Royal College of anything, American Board of Surgeons, all of those big certificates that we have, it's time for those certificates to earn you money. So don't hide them, bring them forward. Any of them that requires verification with data flow, put them out there and get it verified. Or if they are not required for those verification, just submit them or have them handy as a document you're going to be presenting on arrival in Qatar for employers. Okay. Now, also know that aside the verification that the data flow will do, your place of work might decide to also check up on some things, and then the Ministry of Health could also decide to do some of these things as well, in their own process to license you. And okay, so you also need this is certificate of good standing. Okay, a certificate of good standing. They could request this of you. So before you leave Nigeria, try to apply for your certificate of good standing with MDCN, okay? And then it will be gotten. Sometimes the facility might request that you should, apply for it, because these things have expiration dates, certificate of good standing, and all of that. So when the time comes, very close to the time, you apply for it and get it before you leave Nigeria. Okay. Uh, Also, we have people on the inside that can help you with some of these things. I mean, in MDCN, that can help you with some of these things. If you have finding it difficult, okay. Okay. Now, all your certificates, all your documents, you need to go to Qatar with the originals. At some point, the Ministry of Public Health of Qatar might request to see the originals of a document. So, as you're traveling, don't leave your documents, your original documents, back at home. Do well to travel with them. And then, if you have any document that is in a language, let's say different from that is not in English language or in Arabic. If you have a document, let's say you trained in Ukraine or you schooled in Ukraine, okay, or Russia, or you got an additional qualification in Germany, for instance, and you want to work in Qatar now, and then the qualification you have, the certificate or the document or the transcript or anything is written in a language different from English or Arabic, you have to get the translation and attach a copy of the translation to your original document. Okay, so don't just send in a Russian language or China or anything certificate like that. Get the official translation, attach it to the original, and send it. Of course, it's an official translation, not go translate. Official translation, signed, stamped, sealed, maybe by a notary or whatever. You know how to make those documents, I believe. Okay. That is that. So let's get down to when you now have all these documents. Remember, you've signed up with Vidant Solution, you've paid your sign up fee of 800 Qatari riyals, which of course we accept all these fees in Naira. That's another thing you need to know. All of these fees that I mentioned in Qatari riyals are we convert them to Naira, and our clients can pay in Naira, and then we will handle the international conversions and international payments. Okay, so of course the fee in Naira will be relative to the exchange rates that we are able to get at the time, and so they are usually a bit flexible. And so also remember that if you're transferring your data flow from any of the Gulf countries to Qatar, the fee is much cheaper. It's about between 23 to 26 Omani Real, which is about 2,300 to 2,600, 230 to 260 Qatari Reals is within that range, okay? And so you should prepare that. And then the exchange rate for Qatar at the moment is around 1 Qatari Real to about 197 Naira. But these things are not constant, and it could always change. It's always changing, but that's like what we are using now at the moment to do our exchange. But if it changes, of course, we'll let you know when you get to that phase. Okay. Okay, great. Now, the process of how can Vidant Solution help you get into Qatar in the first place on a work visa? Because you can't just fly into Qatar on a visit visa and expect to get these things done. You need to come in on a work visa. And uniquely to Nigeria, the visa policy for Nigeria into Qatar is a bit stringent. As you can understand, it's happening with many countries. Nigeria has not really done the best at laundering its public image, and so it gets to affect us when we want to travel out. And so this is also kind of an issue in Qatar at the moment. And so getting the Nigerian, as a Nigerian, getting the work visa to Qatar can be a Herculean task. In fact, this has single-handedly been the reason why many Nigerians, whether medical officers or specialists or nurses or whoever, have been unable to go into Qatar for many years. And this was the breakthrough that Vidant Solution got that put us at the forefront of the immigration program of the Nigerian doctors and health workers into Qatar. Now, this comes at a very, very high price tag. Okay. Now, everything you've done before, notwithstanding, if you don't get the work visa and get into Qatar, you cannot do anything. You cannot even get the QID because it is the same sponsor that gives you the work visa that is going to process your QID for you and hand it over to you. And then you'll be able to go to employers and get a job. So your question is, why can't the employers just give it to me? No, they don't want to go through that stress. Okay. And so, but if you've gone through the stress, like we are taking on that stress as a company, and of course, the financial responsibility is coming back on you. If you find a way to go through the stress and you get your QID, the hospitals are very, very, willing to hire you. They are very willing. They just want to be sure that you are a resident of Qatar, official resident, and that they can do things with you because they have to fill in that form, that your QID number in the application forms that they are sending for your licensing process. So no hospital wants to be the one to become responsible for all of that, which can take you up to 3 weeks to a month to do. And so many employers are not ready for the stress, and that is why you will have to take on that stress and uncertainty and get into Qatar first through what we are guiding you now. Once you get your QID, the employers, their hands are wide open to receive you. In fact, as long as you are a medical doctor, getting a job in Qatar at the moment is not hard. Now, I'm not sure when you're going to be watching this video, if you'll be watching it in 2027 or 2030, but this is 2023, and it's easy to get a job as a doctor in Qatar if you have your QID. Now, every doctor I know that works in Qatar had to find a way to come in and get their QID before employers took them serious. Okay, every doctor I know. Some of them, their parents were already there and they got their QID over time when they became 18 years, and then they went to med school either in Qatar or outside, and then they had their QID. Others came in as we are directing you on how you can come in now, got their QID, and then the employers took them. Others, their husbands were there, maybe in any other profession, and then they helped bring in their wives, and their wives got the QID by virtue of their husbands being there on the dependency visa, and then they were able to get jobs. So, but whichever way, there has to be a way you're coming into Qatar and you need a QID, Qatar identification, for them to take you serious. And that's what we are taking you through. So this is where you're going to spend the real money. Okay. At the moment, the Qatar visa, work visa, plus the cost of the QID, plus the cost of the medicals is 5.2 million naira. Now, this is not constant. I just have to say this because I usually don't mention money in my videos because things always changing. Okay. So that's why I have to make a disclaimer every time I talk about money. Okay. So now this video is a recent video and these prices are recent prices. This 5.2 million is what you're going to pay now if you're coming now. Okay. In 1 month time, it could change. It could get better, it could get worse. In fact, it was 5 million naira just about 3 months ago. And today is 5.2 million naira. And so this is the cost of both your work visa, your Qatar identity card, and the medicals that you're going to do there. So when it was 5 million naira, the QID and the medicals were not a part of it. So but now we have a package that contains everything: the work visa, the Qatar identity card, and your medicals for just 5.2 million naira. So this money is going to be paid upfront. The moment you decide that you want to do this visa with us, you're going to have to pay this money because the sponsors want to get their whole money. They want to see the whole money before they even do anything with you. And this money is going to be paid in Qatari Riyals, not in Naira. And so we have to go through the process of converting it and making it available to them over there in Qatar before you can get your work visa. And so it's not an issue of, oh, can I pay 10%? Can I pay 5%? No, you have to pay this money completely. Vidant Solution is no more a small company that you are worried about the money you're paying. Obviously, even if something goes wrong, Vidant Solution can refund you this money without batting an eyelid. And so we at the moment do not accept part payments for this work visa. So you have to come up with the complete money, make it as a bulk payment, and within 1 to 2 weeks, or we usually extend it to 1 to 3 weeks in case of unforeseen circumstances, you will get your work visa and you'll be ready to travel. Okay. Now that is for the work visa, QID, and the medicals combined, 5.2 million naira at the moment. Now, in the future, obviously, we are going to incorporate some other things. For instance, when we become responsible for getting you the job offers, at the moment, we are not yet doing that, okay? So, but as we grow, might get to a point where we now are issuing job offers, conditional job offers, even before you leave your home country or where you're based. Of course, the fee is not going to be the same. It might double, because that is like putting more and more guarantees to what you're doing. Okay. And so we are also looking for ways to make it cheaper as well. The looking for sponsors that might charge us less and all of that. But while we are doing that, this is what is on ground at the moment. Okay. Yes. Now, other monies that you have to come with when you're moving to Qatar. Remember, you have to support yourself for the 1 to 2 or 3 months that you would need, or that you need to both get your QID. Your QID process can take you between 3 weeks to 1 month to get your QID. Okay. And then your employer will now, remember, you should have been scouting for a job. And once you have your QID, hopefully in a very short time, you're going to get a job placement and you have all these documents already. This is why we are saying you should enter Qatar with everything prepared. Don't just land there. So you should be ready, so that there is nothing on your own part that should be delaying the process. Okay. So when you enter and you have done with your QID and you apply for your licensing, all of these things are going to take quite a while. Okay. So you should be planning. You should plan for about 2 months. Okay. Before you can settle into the system very well. However, the moment you get your QID, you can leave Qatar and come back at will. Are you getting the point? So if, for instance, you took an extended leave of 6 weeks to 2 months and you finished your QID, okay, and you have applied for a job and you have gotten a job, and then your employer is now processing your license, you could actually come back to Nigeria or go back to Saudi Arabia or wherever you were and continue your life. And when your license is ready, they call you, you can come and resume, and you come and resume. Simple. Okay, so this is also something that you need to know and have in mind. But the period you'll be staying there, if it's 1, 2, or 3 months without really making much income or an income, you need to prepare for it. So, and your accommodation has to be taken care of. And so, and I know that as a specialist, many people want to stay alone in their room. Okay, so a one-room self-con could cost you as high as 2,500 Qatari riyals per month. And remember, this is plus or minus, things keep changing. I don't know when you'll be watching this video. Now, some people who want a bed space, so they are willing to have a roommate or something, might be willing, should be preparing for about 700 to 900 Qatari riyal plus or minus per month. Of course, when you arrive, what is on ground, we will tell you what it is at the time you're coming. Now, we also offer you airport pickup. So when you land at the airport, we have someone that is coming to the airport to pick you up, and that service costs 50 Qatari riyal. Remember the exchange rate I already gave you before. You can always use it to get a rough estimate of what you should be expecting and what you should prepare to arrive with. 50 Qatari riyal for that airport pickup. And so the person is going to know, we are going to connect you to the person that's going to pick you up even before you leave Nigeria or Saudi Arabia, wherever you're leaving from. He's going to have made preparations for your accommodations before you arrive. He's supposed to have your flight ticket and know the time you're arriving so that he can plan, come and pick you up and all of that. So we cover up all of those things, okay? And also you are going to need some fund to survive. Okay, you're going to need some fund, at least between 5,000 Qatari riyals plus or minus, plus, don't minus anything. Okay, you have to plan that kind of money, okay, or a little more for you to survive, while you're waiting for your whole processes of job, license, and all those to get together. Okay, now flight fee actually depends. It's not a constant money. Okay, so but you have to prepare for that as well, plan for it. Your flight money, you can always check that with your airline. I obviously do not have that at the moment, so but you have to prepare for that. Okay, So what we need to process this visa for you, the professional work visa, what we need to process it for you is just your international passport and your passport photograph. So your international passport data page, we don't need your hard copy passport. We just need a scanned copy of your international passport data page, which is the two pages. When you open that page that has your information, you scan the two of them there, okay? And then you send it to us along with your passport photograph, and that is it. And the duration for processing of the work visa is about 1 to 3 weeks, okay, plus or minus. Also, remember that you must enter Qatar within 3 months of issuing of this visa. And so that is basically that for the Qatar pathway for specialists. One Qatari Riyal is roughly 0.274725 US dollars. And this is not constant. And so you should always know economies are drifting up and down. So that should be bringing us to a wrap up of this whole part. We remember the first thing you want to do if you're trying to sign up with us is to pay your guidance fee. Okay, your guidance fee is 800 Qatari riyals, which is about currently about 156 or 57,000 naira. I think so. And so once you make that payment, of course, you have to contact us on the official line that I just called out, plus 234. Let me call it again. Yes, 1 second. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Plus 234 7034243133. Okay, send us a message on this number. Tell us what you're looking for, and we can always we will onboard you. We'll send you the account number you should make the payment to at the time, and then we can onboard you and you can start your process right away. I don't think there's much to say. Again, it's as simple as it is. It's more about the financial input for most people. Most people have these qualifications, and it's more about the money. So if you can source this money, if you can raise this money and commit it, then things can really be the better for you. Now, before I completely sign out, it's important to know that what the financial incentive that is motivating you to make this kind of investment in yourself is. Okay, so specialists are actually paid quite really well in Qatar, and it's not just about your years of experience. Obviously, where you trained, where you got your license, the countries where you've got your experience also affect how much an organization or a hospital is willing to pay you. So, for instance, people who have worked in Saudi Arabia might be in a better position to bargain much higher. Okay, so but we have seen adverts where specialists were paid 28,000 Qatari Riyal per month. Some have been paid 50,000 Qatari Riyal per month, 100,000, and some very super specialized people with very high level or who got their certificates in very, very big countries have been paid as high as 200,000 Qatari Riyals in a month. Yeah, I don't know if that makes much sense to you, but if you solve the maths, you would know that I'm trying to find my calculator here to solve it. If you solve the maths, you will see that that is not a joke. Someone should be making nearly 10, 15, 19 million naira a month is not a joke. And so Qatar is actually pays very well. In fact, so many people are moving from the UK to Qatar and to work, and the tax is very low. It's a Middle East country. They don't really tax that much. So you have low tax, and with all of these incentives that you're likely going to get from your place of work. For instance, if you're working for the Ministry of Health, the Hamad Medical Corporation, for instance, you're entitled to, of course, your annual leave, your accommodation allowance. Sometimes if your family is large, they could literally give you a villa to go live in and all of these things. And so, the package is hardly ever the problem for doctors in Qatar. Getting into it, like we are helping you to do now, is more of the challenge. Okay, Qatar is a very beautiful place. The consultant that we have there already is telling us how happy he is to be there, how nice the place, and how futuristic the country is. You watch the World Cup, you saw how beautiful Qatar is. Development is ongoing, and many years of plan. It's a city of the future, and tourism is becoming a big deal in Qatar currently. You can imagine that most of the Middle East countries are trying to copy what happened in the UAE, and Qatar is really at the forefront of that. They are coming up in that regard, and they are yes, it's an Arabic country, but it's welcoming. You're going to find people speaking English and all of that. Of course, your practice, you should also expect to speak some Arabic, but then becoming a tourist destination means a lot of English is going to be spoken. And among your colleagues, obviously, they'll be speaking English language. And so that's not much to worry about. If people are going to Saudi Arabia, where there is so much less English language and they're surviving, and even to Oman with better English, though more than Saudi, much more than Saudi. Okay, personally, I live and work in Oman at the moment, and so um, the English awareness in Oman is much, 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 much higher than in Saudi Arabia. Okay, and as a place becomes more of a tourist destination like Qatar, the English speaking continues to rise. And so, however, of course, you should understand, you should be able to articulate some level of Arabic, and you always find a way. It's a simple language, you will always be able to get around it. Okay. And this is an investment I believe is worth it for your family, your life, and everything. Of course, there are English schools for your children to attend, for those who are still raising kids and all of that. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. I don't think any of the little challenges or the fees where you have to commit to it is enough to discourage anybody who really is intent on upgrading their life. This video has become much longer than I anticipated. I'm hoping it has given you value for your money and for your time. Okay, so feel free to hit us up on the number that I called and ask directly that you want to sign up for our Qatar guidance package. That's the first thing, that you want to sign up for our Qatar guidance package. It doesn't matter which country you are, whether you've done Dataflow or anything. Everybody has to sign up for the guidance package first of all before we start any other thing. So you see, I've done my Dataflow. I don't know. You have to sign up for the guidance package, and then you pay for your visa, okay, or your after every other thing involved and all of that. Then you pay for your visa, and then you arrive, and other things will continue. Okay. So thank you very much for your time. I know you're all my teachers. I am not a consultant, so I hope this message was passed in a very respectful way. Okay. I've had people accuse me of coming out as a brash, but I'm trying my best to work on that, and I hope this message was communicated respectfully and in an entertaining way. I know it's a lot of information to soak up. Do well to watch this video again over and over and soak up as much as you can and write down what you have to write down. See the information below to get some written stuff on the pathway. And of course, once you sign up, you could always, there is a continuous flow of information between or discussion between you and us. The moment you have signed up to our guidance package, we'll be open to answering your questions, as often, whatever it takes to get you there. Until you get there, you could always reach out to me or to our country director in Nigeria, and your questions will be answered. Of course, if she can't answer anyone, she always gets across to me, and we will keep you informed all the way to the end. Our guidance packages have been excellent, and so I don't think you have anything to worry about. You're getting value for your money completely, and have a great day, guys. Thank you, my teachers, once again. Bye-bye.